my gratitude with all my heart for the very remarkable and splendid meetings that we have had here so far in this conference. This is a remarkable and wonderful gathering here this afternoon on a weekday, and it was a most marvelous gathering this morning. We have been fed the bread of life. We have had spiritual food. We have felt in our hearts, I'm sure, gratitude to God for the rich outpouring of His Holy Spirit thus far in our conference. In the kind providences of the Lord, it does seem to me from year to year, since I've had the privilege of being the president of the church, that our conferences have been occasions where there has been a remarkable and wonderful and rich outpouring of the Spirit of the Lord. And for this I have been grateful beyond my power of expression. I feel my own weakness when I undertake to make any comparisons between myself and the men that I have been associated with as a child with Brigham Young and until he passed away just before I was 21, and with the other presidents that preceded me after I became an apostle. The testimony borne here by Brother Joseph Anderson, I can bear, that I know for more than 50 long years now, from actual association as a member of the Council of the 12 and the President of the Church, that the apostles and the men that have stood at the head of this church, with very slight exceptions, have desired beyond everything else upon the face of the earth to know what the Lord would like them to do, and then they're anxious to do it to the full extent of their ability. The railings out against the church, the viciousness and the lying about them as our people as a whole, has almost entirely died out, because people have come to know us. People have come to know the desires of our hearts, that we have no enmity, that even those that we would naturally dislike, that the Lord has helped us upon many occasions, I'm sure, because of the opposition and the anger against us, that the Lord has helped us to make friends with some that at one time were our enemies. They've learned to find out that every true Latter-day Saint is a servant of the Lord, desiring to know what the Lord would like him to do. And although their own personal ambitions might be vastly different from those of others, yet men are learning that a real, genuine Latter-day Saint is a man worthy to be trusted in all particulars, because they discover that they desire to know the mind and the will of God. And while they may feel that we are mistaken as a people, they realize our honesty and our integrity. And I've always been grateful. In the early days, when a man that presided here over the Episcopal Church, Daniel Tuttle, that he would go east and say, while I disagree with the Mormons, they are honest, they're full of integrity, their devotion to their faith is fine, and I love and respect it. And he was rather solitary, figuratively speaking, almost alone While some of them went east, as one of them did, and his name, I think maybe he's dead, but now anyhow. He said he attended a picnic out in Tooele County, and that all of the teachers, every one of them was drunk, and nearly all of the children. And it so happened at that particular time, with the exception of a little bit of a town called the mining town there. What? No, the mining town, 20 miles from Salt Lake. Stockton. Funny I should forget that glorious spot that was the head of the Republic of Tooele at one time. With the exception of Stockton, there wasn't a saloon in Tooele County. And there wasn't, as you all know, any picnic of Latter-day Saint teachers in the Sunday school that were drunk. Such a thing was a lie, pure and simple. The gentleman afterwards delivered a very remarkable and wonderful sermon in the Salt Lake Theater, and he was so proud of it that he furnished a copy to the Salt Lake Herald and another copy to the Tribune. And it so happened that the editor of the paper had to stay that night because the assistant editor that had to put the headings on the telegrams that came in was sick and had to go home. And he had to do the proofreading. And lo and behold, when he came to this sermon, he says, send it to the composition room and knock it down and set it up in half columns. And the next day it appeared in half columns as an original sermon by our dear friend here, but a plagiarism by one of the great preachers of America that have been dead for about 20 years. And of course they tried him and found other fields for his labor. I am thankful indeed for our meeting here today and all that has happened, and we will now hear from our singing mothers the closing hymn, the soprano solo by Mrs. Margaret Stewart Hewlett. The piece is Almighty, Great Jehovah. After the benediction, this conference will adjourn until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I would like very much to have Brother Albert H. Bellingston and Brother Colin H. Sweeten of the Juab and the Curlew Stakes to come to the stand. I would also like Brother Gustave O. Larson, Brother Francis Bailey, and Brother Carl Eyring to come to the stand, as we will ask them to speak tomorrow. Don't forget Elijah tonight. Be sure and come and bring your friends.